Hey there, it is Chris Conley. How are you guys doing? Thanks for checking out the video. I'm doing a series of videos in anticipation of my launch of a cohort-based online course where we're going to get together for 2 times a week for 5 weeks to talk about the new skills for professionals, for professional work, for professional project work that all professionals need, and that most of the students in this course are trying to foster this way of working or these ways of working, the skills, the mindsets, the behaviors across their organization, in their teams. And the course deals with 6 big pillars, the principles of each one, some examples, ways of approaching that. And what I thought I'd do today is pop through a quick example of one of the lessons, essentially. And I consider it, I hate calling them lessons. It just doesn't sound right to me because, I'm working with adults here who have significant experience. And so our language for education is a little coarse, right? So this is a topic I'll be dealing with. And why don't I take you through it real quick so you can get a flavor for how I go over a topic, how I try to get you thinking and realizing interesting things that you apply to your own work, and then can make little breakthroughs in how you approach your project work. Okay. So this one is about learning fast. So what's the principle at work here and why do we need it? So professionals, when they have a new project, when they're going after a project, an opportunity, addressing a challenge, they tend to look too narrowly at a given project's context. So they look too narrowly at what that context is about, right? And they tend to look too deeply in their own area of expertise. So this is the whole notion of when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So maybe I'm in the marketing department, we have a project, and it makes sense that the project would be about marketing. But that fails to realize that the context is probably out in the real world, and the marketing department has a view of it, and marketing might be responsible for some aspect of implementation to address the challenge or opportunity. But out in the real world, there isn't a marketing department. There's not the consumers don't think of a marketing channel. They experience the world holistically and are going about their lives. And so if you only look at problems from your own area of expertise, you're likely to look at that context too narrowly and see it mostly as the type of problem you know how to work with. So the solution is going to be a typical solution that you can do from within your discipline. And of course, all great professionals who have been rewarded their whole careers for being A students, good players, high performers, they think they know what's going on. They assume they know what's going on. Why would we need to look at the problem more deeply? Why would we need to do, dread the term, research? But the principle here is it's better to look at diverse sources of information a little, quickly, a little bit, than 1 or 2 areas in a really detailed or robust way. And so this is getting the balance right of looking broadly and with enough depth that you get some insights for your project and you understand what's really going on in the world, not what's going on in the world from your discipline's standpoint or your department's standpoint. Okay, so let's take a quick example. So let's say a health plan. A health plan is somebody who reimburses patients for their health care through insurance, right? It's insurance, basically. Well, a health plan realizes in this day and age that they can't solve everything by just addressing those who are already sick and giving them meds, that they decide, you know what, we're going to start partnering with fitness facilities in our area. We're going to start a program, and we want to establish a program and some partnerships. So I do this. This is very, stereotypical, or it's really to make a point. But how would a health plan leader, the project manager, the business leader typically think about this? Well, we're going to do a partnership, and there's a fitness facility. So how do you get access to fitness facilities, memberships? Okay, so let's work out some deal with them about how we can get access to their facility and classes for our members, for the people who are insured by us. But let's make sure we track usage and have it be data-driven so we know that they're using it and how they're using it. Let's certainly, once we have that data, then we could do things like give them rewards or incentives for use of the plan, because we believe it will improve their health. And we're not sure yet why or how, or not why, but how, but we're willing to go forward with it. So let's start contacting let's start contacting fitness facilities and knock out, make some proposals, knock out a contract details, and negotiate that cost. So there's nothing wrong with this, right? It's kind of a typical approach to what you would do. It's like, we're a health plan. If we have more of our people working out on a regular basis at fitness facilities, the amount we pay out will be much less. And we've done the numbers. We know that for every percentage increase in the hours that our members exercise each week, our payouts go down by X $100,000 or whatever it is. So we have those metrics and we know what we can spend. So we're gonna get access to facilities and try to get people to work out. Okay. So I would call this a fairly narrow view, nothing wrong with it. But the whole point of learning fast and breaking outside of your own discipline is to learn something and make connections that where you can design this program so it's far more likely to have the impact you want. You're not necessarily flying blind or flying narrowly. You're kind of creating opportunities for yourself. And if you can learn fast and kind of think more broadly about it, you may end up creating a plan that nobody else has and have competitive advantage, maybe be able to protect that some way through intellectual property. Okay, so let's look at that. Let's look at a more creative, less narrow way. Now, what I've done here is I've pulled some images to get my brain thinking about what might matter and how could I think about this notion of a program between a health facility and a health plan and a fitness facility. So what do we have? Well, this first image of some folks doing yoga makes me think about different kinds of fitness facilities and the kinds of benefits those different types of fitness have on people. And so I'm thinking right away, as I've been doing this for 25 years, so my brain starts creatively exploring this. So I start thinking, maybe we should look at and map, just create a nice diagram, create a framework of types of facilities, types of fitness, yoga, rock climbing, you can see here, functional fitness, typical, cardiovascular fitness. We could be funny and say CrossFit, and we don't want to do CrossFit because there's more injuries that come out of CrossFit than others. That's just a joke. CrossFit people, don't go hangry on me. Okay, so that's what that first one's about. So it starts getting me to think about, maybe there's an interesting way to look at this where different kinds of fitness facilities play different roles in our patient population. And we could incentivize them based on their health record for fitness facilities that might better address their health and be in alignment with what they're trying to get better at. The image below it here, let's see, can you see that? Here is a punch clock, and I'm just thinking, well, do do the people in our health plan have time to go to fitness centers? And maybe, do we have any data on that? Do we have any data on occupations that our people have? And is fitness facilities the right way to do it? Or should it be more like access to remote support? I don't know. But it makes me, that question keeps me honest, and that picture reminds me that people have schedules, and one possible success or failure of this program might be whether they can access the facilities or not, or if they work too hard and they're never going to do it anyway. So just a question, could lead to some interesting things to think about in designing the program. This center image of a pregnant woman doing yoga or meditation makes me think about our internal departments or internal health plan, what we typically fund, pregnancy care, diabetes, chronic conditions, et cetera. And it makes me think about the conditions that we try to make better in people's lives and what fitness might be mapped to that. It's kind of similar to the first one of the yoga in some ways, right? But this one, I'm looking at it directly from our departments and saying, what departments do we have? Maybe what are the numbers across some of the departments? And therefore, what should we be incentivizing in terms of types of fitness or types of care? Okay. And then the third one, this young lady standing in front of a rock climbing wall. The rock climbing wall makes me think of, again, different types of activities, and maybe having a point of view with our health plan that how can we get the most diversity of activities? Because usually people in fitness want to find something they like doing that's in alignment with their desires and coordination and physical capabilities. But it also makes me think, just this image, when I found it, it makes me think of family members. What role will lots of times family members like to maybe get some exercise in together. Could our program allow parents to bring their kids, a spouse to bring their spouse, right? A member to bring their spouse. So again, it helps me think about things we want to research, and elements of potential solution, dimensions of a solution that open up the problem a little bit more and make me think about how to research this and how to go talk to people and see if some of that stuff is of interest, go get some data to see what the numbers actually say, go map out in the communities where we are the biggest health plan, actually map out the fitness facilities and know what portfolio of fitness access we may have. All of these start, and my brain, I really start to enjoy this process of thinking about the landscape or the context of the problem. And that's what this learning is about. So just in a 5 or 7 minute reflection on this topic, I've started to broaden it. Now imagine if I'm doing that with colleagues. Imagine if I'm asking some of these questions with others and they have an idea about what you could look at and a different reason why, right? And so now you have the benefit of diversity of thinking, diversity of learning, in order to inform this program that you're trying to make successful, okay? Final image is one of prescriptions. Of course, I'm wondering, maybe we don't knock out a contract for random access for people, but maybe we figure out, we're the health plan, we can decide what we want to reimburse. Maybe we reimburse prescriptions for fitness from maybe our doctors themselves, or when they get referred to PT, physical therapy or something like that. Maybe we allow physical therapists to prescribe fitness facilities and fitness exercises for these guys. Because moving from physical therapy then to a facility would be less cost. Okay, so that was a deep dive into thinking about what we could go look at in terms of this program. So what's going on here? I love the term dimensioning. I've used this for many years and people tend to go, what do you mean by dimensioning? And I'm an engineer, so when you dimension a drawing, you show all the different sizes and things, and you kind of describe what that picture's about. Maybe I should get an image up here for the course. Like, you describe a design with dimensions and call outs. And so those are all the different things that are happening so that it can be fabricated or built and stuff like that. So we're dimensioning, we're exploring, we're immersing ourselves in this world of health and fitness. We're wondering about things, and we're investigating and going and getting that data. So this is clearly not research, but it's learning fast. And we're looking at a wide variety of things. We're asking questions. We're collecting and gathering information. Like, when we would go look at some of these things and say we were going to map fitness facilities around our major metro areas, I might go and download a page, the homepage of every one of their websites, to get a feel, and then put it on the wall in terms of a map of the city. I might gather, I might go to the Fitness Association of America and download the classification of all the different types of fitness activity. And if they had any sort of mapping towards what part of your health does it help with, strength, circulatory, heart, etc., I might collect that and get it up on the walls. And this is the whole idea, is we're building a visual wall. We're building a mural of rich information to for us to look at. And why do we do this? We do this because immersion in a lot of research, of a lot of rich data, allows your brain to look for patterns. Think about these things: patterns, anomalies, what's different, what stands out, and surprising connections. And so I love the last one, the surprising connections. This is why you immerse and kind of gather way more information than you can explain why you are doing it. The fast part helps in that, because you're not double guessing everything. Like, what do we really want to know? Because when we say, what do we really want to know, we're predetermining what we're going to look at based on what we currently think the problem's about. But when we broaden our view, broaden our perspective, we start to gather information that later on, a week later, 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh, this might play a role in here. I never thought of that. We could connect that to that, right? So that's the power of this type of learning fast, exploring the context of your problem, not jumping to, hey, we could try let's open up contracts with the top fitness facilities in our metro areas and negotiate a contract for access for our members. Let's figure out a way to collect data and reward people for who are doing it. Okay, so what's next? What I want to say is, you already do this in some aspects of your life. So it shouldn't be unfamiliar to you. So think about when we're looking for a house or an apartment. Do we just look for 2-bedroom, 2-bath at $1,200 a month in this neighborhood? No, we're looking for lots of different dimensions, and one specific to what we care about. So yes, there's price and layout, but it's like, what's the neighborhood like? Even the block, what are the neighbors like? What are the immediate neighbors like? Are they loud? We're selling a house, and that was the first thing they asked is, how loud are your neighbors? I thought that was funny. Because we have wonderfully quiet neighbors who are great friends. Are there parks? What's the walking conditions like? Are there schools? What's the condition of the property? Not just its price and layout. Are we close to transportation, et cetera? What can I do in the neighborhood? What kinds of features do they have, or amenities, right? So this dimensioning happens when maybe we're shopping for an important purchase. Think about, that's why TVs and computers used to be sold on so many specs, like it was the specs. But these are quite different things. Like, what's the neighborhood like versus, do I have access to transportation in my job? And there's nothing against any one of these places, but they have to fit my criteria, and I have to understand, and I better understand these things if they matter to me when I'm looking for a house or an apartment. So we already do it. So in the course, we won't do that now because this is just a video, but in the course, we'll do a live example together to practice a little bit. So we'll have somebody, we'll have people suggest what the topic could be, and then we'll brainstorm dimensions of how to look at that more creatively. And I'll be able to kind of think about it or understand if people are seeing things broadly enough. And then, so you have to understand also there's questions to ask and things to go look at. And then there's what you do to go do that. And I just wanted to make a point about, again, research isn't this lab codey, data-oriented, calculating thing. It is a very immersive, in-the-world type activity. So ways to do research include desk research, going to the internet, obviously, but actually going to a place. This is called Gemba in Japanese. They have a term that means go to the place where the things are happening so you can see. It might be part of the Toyota way, I'm not sure. But I love this notion of Gemba, and it's such an important principle. Think about how many people are in their jobs, used to be in their offices. Many of us are not in our offices anymore. And we are not at our customer sites. We are not in our client sites. We are not on the manufacturing floor, et cetera. So to better understand our customer's world, we need to go into that world where it happens and look at what's going on. And this is the notion of Gemba. You can interview or observe, or both, people who are in the problem context, right? So I'd go to fitness facilities and start talking to them a little bit about healthcare. I'd go to people in a waiting room at a hospital facility, a clinic, and talk to them about health and fitness and how much do they think that this plays a role in their health and fitness? How much could exercise and how much maybe could nutrition? Spoiler alert, nutrition and exercise are much more important in most cases than healthcare or sick care. Don't take that, okay, now I got CrossFitters and healthcare people mad at me. So that's not. Okay, doing a conceptual exercise with people, we often bring customers in and have them do something like a visual collage to express what it's like using our product or service. So there's lots of different methods or tools in that area. You could do the thing yourself. There's some companies like McDonald's that pride themselves on having people who came up through working all the jobs in a store before they become a manager and maybe executive leadership. And doing the activity that your customer or client is doing is a great way, or your staff member, if your project is about improving operations, try doing the job other people are doing. It's a fantastic experience of empathy and learning and appreciation. And of course, becoming a customer of something. We had I had a workshop with some nurses and healthcare people, and actually it was healthcare people in general. And one table were some nurses, and we were talking about this notion of ways of doing research. And they said, I just called the front desk to make an appointment. And I can't believe how difficult it was to get through to somebody and figure out how I could make an appointment. And I thought that was really bold and insightful by her. And because she goes, now I realize that whenever I need an appointment, I know how to make it directly at my facility. I'm a healthcare person, so I have this distorted view of and a naive view about what it takes to set up an appointment. So becoming a customer of something you haven't been a customer of is a great way to learn. Okay. So there is an issue that the dimensions are endless, and this trips people up quite a bit. Well, if there's so many things to do, what's the most important one? Which one should I do first? I would say this is a primary fault in the way you're thinking about it. I guess my question would be is, how could you do a one little reflection in as many areas as you can think of and collect a little bit in each one of those areas or in a majority of those areas, then see where you're at. You see, the principle is not which one is the most important. The principle is have breadth, variety, and different kinds of information, rich information that's different from different things, from different points of view. That's the principle. And so, yes, you should do the basics like quantities, how many people are doing it. I mean, anything you have easy access to in terms of what's really going on. Who are the key players? Are there any direct analogs to this project? So if we're doing, that's why I would go to a fitness facility. I would go to a healthcare facility. Then I might go to a spa too. Or I might go to a behavioral health facility to see how they design their rooms and maybe talk to them a little bit about their impact on physical health when people have less stress. So do the basics, but then, that's what I just said. When I talk about going to the spa or the behavioral health, I'm being opportunistically creative. I'm thinking of things that might really be interesting to go look at because it's either related to what we're doing or it is simply interesting in and of itself and involves people, service, living, health, experience, right? And so I think that's a really fun one that people don't think about. It's like, what's something I could go look at that would be surprising to my colleagues, that would be inspiring, that would make everybody think, I would never have thought to go look at that. So what dimensions would simply be interesting? And they are endless, so you can use them to your advantage. But remember the principle. Do a variety. Look at it in a variety of different ways and a little bit in each one rather than, hey, let's really get let's understand the business model of the fitness facility at all costs. Right? Okay. So so then in the course, we won't do it now either, but you can do this for your own experience. Hey, if you do this, if you happen to see this video and do this exercise, send it to me, chris@abundantprofessional.com. Send it to me and I'll give you feedback on it. So select or identify a project in your work. We'll do this in the course for a 15-minute exercise. And what we'll do is people can practice it on something they care about, which is in their own work. And then they'll share it with each other and get feedback and see how somebody else could ask a question and say, what about this? What about this? And broaden their perspective so that you can also experience what it's like when you just allow somebody else to offer up ideas to make your thinking more creative, okay? Not to have ideas for you, but to inspire your ideas. So select or identify a project in your work. Dimension, and we could call this a learning sprint. That sounds kind of fancy and concurrent with let's do a design sprint, right? Let's do a learning sprint, which is, over the course of 5 days or 2 weeks, we're going to go immerse ourselves in this space to learn about it. We're going to collect things. We're going to build a visual mural, and we can build the visual mural. If we're not getting together together, we can build that online with Miro.com. And then identify what you would look at, describe how you would look at it. So we'll go interview these people. We'll go observe that. We'll go enroll in this. We will simply go take a walk through this thing, right? We will talk with these people. It's how you're we will hold a round robin discussion table. So again, think about the activity you will do, how you will do it. And then annotate why you would look at that. Why is it interesting? And again, don't take this why as being correct. You need to be correct and you need to be right. And you need to have the things that are the most important. The why should come from the mindset of curiosity and wonder. Not, I know that this will give us the answer we need to have a good understanding of the context. So write those down. That's our exercise. Let's take 15 minutes and then we'll come back to it. You can pause the video here and then I'm going to wrap it up. I think this is my last slide. All right, that is my last slide. So let me come back to slide 1, having a pretty picture on the screen. Actually, maybe. I mean, if we're talking pretty picture, let's just go back to me, shall we? So that's it. So that's a example of one of the lessons, learning fast. I suppose I could do this. Right. So this is an example of a lesson I'll do in my course of New Skills for Professional Work. That's coming up October 18th. The course is $749. It's 5 weeks, meeting 2 times a week. That's 10 sessions. We have an ongoing community forum. All of the lessons will be archived for use afterwards, as well as any materials that I hand out. And everybody who enrolls in this session will get 6 months of access to my online membership, and in fact will become the founding members, where you get I got to stop saying 24/7 because I got to sleep every night, but where you get daily access to me, where you can ask questions and I will answer them in the forums. And in the membership, I also go live a couple times a month, have conversations with other people, people who are doing interesting things in professional work, who are here to share their experiences, techniques and approaches and strategies with you. So consider the course. Sign up on that page for updates if you're interested but not quite sure you want to pull the trigger yet. You can sign up on that page, and you'll go into my mailing list, and I'll make sure you're taken care of. And then for everybody else, the deadline for registering will be probably next Friday, so about a week from today. And I really invite you to consider doing it. It's going to be great. We have a couple good students right now that are professionals, well experienced, diverse experience. They're going to be learning from each other. I'm going to be learning from them, and they're going to have great access to me. Why don't you sign up and join the party and be part of the first cohort of this awesome class on new skills for professional work. Have a great weekend. It's Friday here in Chicago. I look forward to talking to you soon.